What's up, everybody? Welcome to Week 8's live Start Sit with the Fatboyz, presented by the Fantasyholics Podcast Network. I'm Bo. That is Brant. Brant, how you feeling for Week 8, buddy? It's National Tight Ends Week.
Feeling good. It is Happy National Tight Ends Week or day. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in our show today. I do got a little sum up for these tight ends. It's a good day for football. You did get a shout out on my solo episode. I accidentally called myself Bo because I got so used to that's Bo. So I didn't get to talk to you about that. I'm excited about the slate today. It's the Bimageddon, however you want to call it.
Bipocalypse.
Bipocalypse. It's still early in the morning, so my words aren't quite there. But yeah, no, it should be a good week. I get to just sit back and kind of enjoy it today. 90% of my family is going to be either at work or doing something else. So I actually get to enjoy it kind of in peace and quiet today. So it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, I don't get that luxury. I'll be running all over town doing cheer banquets and watching my Falcons on a 6.5-inch phone screen. So the noon or the 1 o'clock slate won't be great for me, but hopefully it gets better this afternoon. So, all right, we got our first question coming in already from Kevin. He says, "Good morning, boys. Start one: Judkins, Chase Brown, or Bill?"
I think you got to start Judkins. I think Judkins is in my lineup until probably for the rest of the season. So yeah, I think I'm starting Judkins.
I mean, that Patriots defense is a decent little defense, but yeah, I mean, as far as the other two names listed, you've talked about Chase Brown, who, he is coming off of his best game of the season last week. But still, for fantasy points, I think he got somewhere around the 10-point mark, 11 points, somewhere in there. So not great. Bill's been kind of disappointing at this point in the season. We've been, it's been like, here's your time to go break out, take the bull by its horns and go put up some points. But Bill doesn't ever seem to get that done. Whereas Judkins is coming off of I believe a 3-touchdown week last week, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't expect that to happen this week, but I do expect him to be heavily involved in that offense. So I'll go Judkins as well, Brant.
Okay. There we go. Tony asked, I have Flowers, Tet McMillan, Diggs, Shaheed, and Stevenson. Pick 2 PPR. Man, both Flowers and Ted having backups. I think I go with Diggs as my one start there. Let's see. New Orleans got Tampa Bay and what could be a shootout. I think Tampa Bay still pretty beat up in the secondary. I think I go with Diggs and Tet actually here. I do think that Tet will see plenty in a game that could end up in a shootout with the Buffalo Bills. So I think I go with Tet and Diggs.
Yeah, and you talk about secondaries. That Bills secondary is nothing special. They are coming off of back-to-back losses where Drake May and then Michael Penix in back-to-back games were able to expose them a little bit. So, I think you start Tet, and I think honestly, you kind of hope to the Bills to jump out to a little bit of a lead, and it's not that two-headed monster of Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard putting points. You got to have the red rifle back there throwing the ball. So, that happens. Tet could have a pretty nice little day. So, and then I do like Diggs as well, Brant. So I think we're in agreement on those two.
Okay. All right. So you got some real big names out on buys this week with the Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Raiders, Jaguars. I'm missing somebody else. I feel 1, 2, 3. Nope, that should be it, right? Yep, 6. A lot of big names out there off buy this week. So a lot of good matchups. A lot of questions going on. I know we're starting off a little. Everyone getting out of bed trying to join us. So definitely bring in your questions, guys.
Well, Dan's got one for us right here. He says 14-man redraft PPR. My wide receiver room was in shambles. Puka, Shakir, Mooney, and piecing together random off of waivers. I just traded Puka for Jettas and Flowers. Win or loss on my end. Man,
if you're competing this year, it's an absolute win for you. And it's a redraft. I think it's a definite win. I thought it was Dynasty. I think this is a definite win. You're getting a higher upside with Jettas. You're not sure how long Puka's going to be out. I know he's supposed to be back next week. And then you get the throw in of Flowers that could be a very good starter when Lamar's back. I don't know how much I trust him today with Snoop sitting back there, but I do. I think this is a win in your 14-man league.
Yeah, I mean, if your wide receiver room's in shambles, you traded one starter, you got two. And I know, Justin Jefferson's kind of having a down year this year, but the Vikings do have wide receivers do have the easiest remaining schedule in football for fantasy wide receivers. So hopefully that starts looking up. Maybe somebody at the quarterback situation figures it out there, and Jetta starts having some good weeks. But yeah, you're filling two starting spots on your wide receivers off of one trade. So I know it's tough to trade, the number one fantasy wide receiver this year, but I think you did all right on that one.
Absolutely. Kevin says traded for Drake May with Daniels out. Drake May is a good start this week, or pick up Rodgers or Fields. Don't pick up Fields. Don't pick up Fields. I was the most firm believer in Fields. Don't pick up Fields. I can't. I had to jump off ship. I'm in the middle of the ocean now, all by myself, because I might have been the only one on that ship. Yeah.
Good thing you're buoyant.
I'm starting Drake May. I'll keep him in my lineup. I like his matchup this week. I think Cleveland keeps it semi-competitive so that the game doesn't get out of hand and it's a run-first game. So I think Drake May is a very good start.
Yep, I agree. After first of all, being able, Kevin, to go trade for Drake May at this point in the season's kind of wild that he's even available because he's having such a good year. I think down the stretch, you're going to have some weeks where you're like, man, do I really bench May in favors of Jaden Daniels? But I'm definitely not swapping him out for Rodgers or Fields this week. I'm playing May. Matt says, Chuba Hubbard, Woody Marks, or Troy Franklin, pick 2. Brant, thoughts on, you're probably playing those first 2 today, ain't you?
I am. I've gone back and forth. Do I want to play Chuba and Rico? Do I want to play Woody? I'm going back and forth because I'm missing a lot of pieces with this bye weeks. I'm going to trust Chuba against the Buffalo defense because, like you said, it's nothing to write home about. So I'm going to start. I'm okay with Rico and Chuba both this week. Let me go back. Let me take a peek at Franklin here and how he's been doing. I'm not. There it is. Playing 62. He saw 10 targets last week. I think I actually do lean Franklin in what could be a shootout here with Dallas. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Franklin. I think they figured something out that we can't wait until the fourth quarter to make a comeback. As much as I want to say start Woody, it's only been 2 weeks. He's seen over 50% of the snaps coming out of the bye week for Houston. That was a good sign for Woody Marks. But I think I'll fade it for one more week if you're not forced to start him. So give me Troy and Chuba.
Yep, I agree. Same thing. I was waiting to see if you'd pick up on that. That Cowboys-Broncos game, Vegas has got the highest scoring game of the week. I think you're right. I think Bo Nix and Troy Franklin have really got a special connection. I think that's a game that you could see, Troy Franklin have those double-digit targets again. I think he's definitely startable this week.
Absolutely. Michael says Diggs or London in PPR. What I'm going to ask you, what is the last update? I know you follow a lot more Falcon stuff than me. What's the last update on London that you've seen?
The last update was the one that came out yesterday that he was added to the injury designation list as questionable with a hip injury, true game time decision. And Michael, to tell you the truth, in our home league, I guess the league I care about most, our home dynasty league, if Drake London is out, I'm putting Diggs in it as well in that league. So this is kind of where I'm staring. If London goes, you have to play him, obviously, with how big he is in that offense. But if he's ruled out, it's Diggs for me. So I'm going to say London unless he's ruled out, and then pivot to Diggs.
Yeah, Michael, stick around and we'll bring it to you as soon as we know, because that report should come out here shortly. But yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. It's London, even with Cousins starting, and then Diggs is a good pivot to have.
This is why the Falcons go out and got and signing the highest paid backup in the league. We got to make sure we have a quarterback. You know, it was smart thinking by the Falcons management staff there. Mike says, do we think Stroud is a better option than Kirk Cousins? JD is out. I have to pick up a quarterback up.
Stroud's receiving core is banged up this week. But then again, Cousins could be missing his best target. I think I still stick with Stroud. I do. I think I'll stick with Stroud. I think this might be a better option this week. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Stroud.
Texans are favored by 2.5 and a 41.5 point line. Falcons are favored by 6.5 and a 44.5 point line. I think I go Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I do. I think the way that Bijan Robinson is utilized out of the backfield, that'll get some bonus points for Kirk. You talk about how banged up that Texans wide receiver core is. And honestly, after having watched the 49ers defense last week and how Robert Salah was scheming, I know they're young, but I think that 49ers defense is starting to come into its own here a little bit with some of those young cats. So I think I honestly do go Kirk Cousins this week. Hopefully he's healthy. I mean, a healthy Kirk Cousins has been pretty good in this National Football League for a long time. So I think I go Kirk.
Okay. All right. Jennifer comes at us with two questions here. He's got Jennings or Booty. Pick one. We'll get into that second one here in just a second. I'm going to go with Booty, I think.
It's been so good.
I'm going to go with Booty.
Good. Yeah, I agree. Rant Booty on that one.
Second one is Dart, Flacco, or Rattler. I'm going with Dart. He's got that high rushing upside. He could find himself in the end zone. So I'm going to go with Dart here.
Could Dart beat the Eagles twice in one season?
I don't think he wins, but I do think he keeps it very competitive.
Okay. All right.
Then again, I didn't think he'd win the first time, and that's what knocked me out of my survivor pool.
That's true.
Still salty.
Yeah, I'll go with Dart as well on that one. She does follow it up with Rodgers or Mariota. I'm going A-Rod.
I think that's where I'm at too. I'm going A-Rod in what is not a revenge game, as he is saying. I think I'm going to go with A-Rod.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later, but have you seen the throwback jerseys that both teams are wearing for tonight? I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch that game. I may have to turn my settings to black and white. I don't know. It's ugly. It's ugly.
You may have to watch that one on the 7.5, 9.5 inch screen just so you don't have to strain your eyes.
I ain't doing that to my phone.
Ryan comes at it's your go.
No, I just did the last one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ryan comes at us. What's up, fellas? Any updates on London, or should I plan on starting Pickens? You got a good pivot. I'm going to assume with it coming out late that it's probably an illness or something, and he'll probably be playing. I have not looked too deep into London. I actually just got that update from you because I'm not sure.
It's a hip injury. It's not. Which I think it's kind of been a thing he's been dealing with off and on all year this year. He got pulled out in a game early this season. I think it was with that hip issue as well. So what I'm reading the last update from an hour ago from Roto Baller that's posted on Sleeper is that the team intends to check on London Sunday morning to determine whether or not he's available. So if he goes, he's a wide receiver 1 this week. If he doesn't, I think Pickens is a good pivot, like Brian alluded to, especially with the talk this week that Surtain may genuinely shadow CeeDee Lamb this week. So if that happens, Pickens is a big play this week. But if London goes, you got to play London.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Paul says, morning, guys. Got a quarterback 1 week rental between Kirk Cousins or Huntley. I lost Young and Lamar to injuries and Lawrence on bye. My next question is Waddle, DJ Moore, or Chuba for the flex. At the beginning, it was just plug and play. Hubbard now with Rico, creating a 2-headed running committee. All right, so on that quarterback one, Brant, I'm going Kirk Cousins over Snoop. I don't know how you feel about that one.
Yeah, Snoop's got the rushing upside, but I think I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins as well, too. So I'm in the same boat as you.
All right, and then as far as the other part, Waddle, DJ Moore, or Chuba. For me, this one feels like it should be Waddle, but with Tua added to the injury report late with an illness, the Falcons' defense has been pretty respectable all year. I still believe we're number one against the pass because it was CMC who slaughtered us last week. But I'm kind of nervous about Waddle. I still think he gets enough targets to be valuable over the other two. What are your thoughts on that, Brain?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Waddle. He'll be the number one guy there. Even if Tua doesn't play, who knows? That might improve the passing game a little bit there. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Waddle on this one.
Okay.
DJ Moore has not been too bad as a plug play. He is seeing at least 5 targets every single game. So he's not a bad plug and play, but I just can't trust him.
It feels like it's going to be Witch Hot Hand in Chicago, and I don't want to put that in my lineup.
Kevin asks, guy I traded has Herbert and Mayfield. He has a big bye week this week, so I traded Matthew Golden for him.
That's for Drake May. Matthew Golden straight up for Drake May. That's a fleecing, Kevin.
Yes,
you did well on that trade.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm glad you remembered that.
Christian says, start Caleb, Henry, or Pickens in PPR. What Caleb is that?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Caleb Williams, and so it would be a super flex. So I would go with Caleb Williams in a super flex, even with the PPR.
Yeah, assuming that's who that is. I agree. Otherwise, is it Derrick Henry, Hunter Henry? Christian, if you're still hanging out, could you give us some more?
Give us a couple first names.
Yeah, please. Last name, first name. Yeah, I know who the Pickens is. I don't know that one.
I got that one. Dickie comes at us with Tez Johnson or Josh Downs, flex full PPR, and then he also follows it up with Mayor Rogers. I'm going with Tez Johnson, and I'm going with Drake May as my two there.
Tez Johnson's been decent lately.
While you're looking at something, I'm going to put it out here as perspective. I don't think that Indy is going to throw the ball very much, and I'll go over that a little bit later. I think they're going to get a nice lead. They got this phenomenal running back that's been torching the league with touchdowns, and I think they're going to lean on that this week. And so I don't think they're going to have to throw too much against Tennessee. So I'm going with Tez.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, Josh Downs did miss week 7 against the Chargers with an injury, but the last 2 times he played, he had 8 and 7 targets. Coming off his most recent performance was a week or a wide receiver 15 on the week in week 6. So he's, in my mind, he's kind of hard to sit. Tez Johnson's coming off of a 9 target game, but before that, it's a career high at 4. I want to lean Josh Downs, but I'm okay with either one. I mean, if you think there's more passing upside in that Buccaneers game, but I think both the Buccaneers and the Colts could get up early and not have to pass in either of their respective contests. So right now, I do think I slightly lean Josh Downs.
Then Mayor Rogers. I'm going Drake May.
Yeah, I'm still on the May side of that. All right, Rob says he needs one in PPR. Shaheed Pitts or Alec Pierce? I'm going Kyle Pitts. Especially with Drake London potentially being banged up. I think Pitts could be in line for a massive game if Drake misses. So give me all of Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I'm taking Kyle Pitts as well here. Jennifer says she appreciates you guys. We appreciate you joining us in every single week with us. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. We appreciate you coming and hang out every week. Go ahead again, Brant.
Rob says Woody Marks, Algier, or you only did this.
Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, you only did it so I had to try to say that name. I'm going with Algier. I think this is a good start for him. I think he has a good chance of seeing some work today against Miami, against that run defense that doesn't scare anybody. So I think both your running backs could be in for huge days. So I'm actually going to go with Algier.
If he plays.
If he plays.
Yeah, he is questionable with a hip and a knee injury. So I'm a little nervous about him. Kyle Monangai, which you only didn't pick him because you'd had to say his name. Is coming off of a running back 12 performance last week against New Orleans. Baltimore run defense is actually worse than New Orleans somehow this year. However, he did not have 50% of the snaps. I think it was mostly garbage time. I try to avoid watching the Chicago Bears as often as I can, but he did have 13 carries last week, Brant, for 81 yards, 6.23 yards a carry and a touchdown, also adding 2 receptions. So I think Kyle Monangai is a pretty decent little play if Algier's out. If Algier plays, I think I do go Algier as well. I don't trust Woody Marks. I really don't. How many people got burned on him earlier in the season when we were like, oh my gosh, he's trending upwards. He's trending upwards. He's trending upwards. You play him and he does nothing. So I think I'm kind of fading Woody right now. So for me, it's Algier. If Algier's out, I go Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll go Monangai if Algier is out too. I went over it just a little while ago. I'm not 100% sure that I do trust Woody. I'm almost forced to start him this week, but I've gone back and forth with it. Luckily, it should be a pretty decent matchup for me in our home league, so I can actually get away with possibly having a 0 in my lineup or a bad score.
Okay, fair enough.
Jonathan says Chase Brown or Ramondre Stevenson. The low volume for Brown worries me. I'm going with Chase Brown here. I think Flacco has opened up that offense up a little bit, so I'm actually going to lean on Chase Brown here.
I think if this question were posed differently and it was who would I rather have rest of season, I think I honestly go Ramondre Stevenson. But this week I'd rather have Chase Brown. The one thing that the Cleveland Browns are good against is the run. So I don't expect Ramondre Stevenson to do a whole heck of a lot today. So I will also go with Chase Brown on that one. All right, Christian did follow it up for us. He says, sorry about the lack of info. He says, start Caleb Williams, King Henry, or Pickens in Superflex. He has Odunze in his wide receiver spot. So, yeah, I agree with you, Brant. It's Caleb Williams.
Yep, Caleb Williams on that one. Kevin asked, if DeAndre Swift doesn't play, would you play Monangai over Judkins? No, I'm not. Judkins doesn't come out of my lineup anytime soon.
No, probably not, just because of how good Judkins has been. But that is a very, very nice matchup for Kyle Monangai.
It is.
I'd almost look and see if there's a way to get him in your lineup elsewhere if DeAndre Swift doesn't play, because that Bears, offensive line has improved. The defense for the Ravens is a loss this year. It's not the same defense that we've seen in years past. So I'm very comfortable playing against or starting a running back against that Ravens defense, but I can't sit Quinshon Judkins right now. I can't do it. All right, Curtis says Flacco or May. Feels like May might get wrecked by the Browns defense.
I'm still going with May. They're protecting him pretty well. I'm going to lean on May there. The Browns defense does scare me, but like I said, they're scheming to protect him. He does have the rushing upside, so I'm going to go with Drake May still.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one's like, yeah, I do feel like this could be a potentially tough matchup for Drake May against the Browns, because the Browns defense, their front seven anyway, should be decent. And honestly, that trade with the Jaguars where they got Tyson Campbell and traded away Greg Newsome, Campbell's actually been one of the best cornerbacks in the league since that trade went down. So I get the concerns. At the same token, though, I will say that I feel like if you sit May for 37-year-old Joe Flacco and Joe Flacco doesn't play as well as he did last week, I think you'd feel pretty silly. So, I think I go May still, just because of how how good May has been this year. But I do get the allure of Flacco with Jamar Chase. I can't get that cute, I don't think, at this point.
Dominic Dominic asked, Shakir or McLaurin in PPR? I'm actually checking something out real fast. He's ready to go. I think I go with Shakir here. I think that game could be a good shootout game, a fun one to watch. So I think I'm going to go with Shakir.
Yep, I go with Shakir as well. Mainly because, Brant, I have a hard time starting anybody catch passes from Marcus Mariota. Can't do it. Adam says Cade Otton or Evan Ingram in half-point PPR.
That's what that was the other one I was looking up, was what did Otton do last week with nobody else there? 9 targets, yeah. Yeah, I think I go with Otton on this one. I like Ingram, but I think I like Otton just a little bit better.
Yeah, Otton is coming off of a really, really good game. Actually, Evan Ingram had 8 targets last week. Actually, since week 3, Evan Ingram's had targets of 7, 6, 6, and 8. I'm going Evan Ingram in a shootout. I'm going Evan Ingram.
All right.
I was trying to lead Cade Otton as well there, Brant, but I can't do it. I'm leaning Evan Ingram.
Game definitely is posed for a shootout. I still think I lean Otton on that one a little bit. Ryan asked, PPR, need 2. Nico out this week and lost Evans for the year. So he's got Diggs, Downs, Tez Johnson, Matthew Golden. Diggs is my start, my one. It's really hard to start Golden, especially with the fact that Watson may be back this week.
Watson is back, I believe.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with Tez and Diggs on this one.
I go with Diggs and Downs because I took Downs over Tez earlier, and I'm going to stay riding that. So I'll take Josh Downs and Stephon Diggs.
Yep, Christian Watson is expected to make his debut.
Christian says in his second league, Keon Coleman or Woody Marks in the flex. Josh Allen is his quarterback.
As much fun.
Check this out. If Dalton Kincaid does not play, who is questionable, I go Keon Coleman. If Dalton Kincaid plays, I go Woody Marks.
I think I go Woody Marks either way. Coleman's been so hard to trust. His week 1, he blew up as a wide receiver 2.
How are we trusting Woody Marks at this point?
They both are, but they both are hard to trust. But
if my decision comes down to Keon Coleman or Woody Marks, I am 100% going with the higher ceiling out of those two because I don't feel like the floor is safe on either one of them. So I'm going to take the upside, and I feel like the upside is Keon Coleman.
All right.
Especially with the stack.
I'm still sticking with Woody.
All right. We're divided on that one.
Elliot says, good morning, fellas. So Rico or Chuba or sit Shakir and start both. Honestly, starting both wouldn't be a bad idea. But
if I could only play one, which granted you're not in the situation where you have to, I'm going with the one that's looked more explosive. Rico has been explosive all season long. Last week it came out, Chuba had the first drive, Rico had the next, Chuba, Rico. Rico was more explosive than Chuba all game long last week, all game. So I honestly think I go Rico. I wouldn't be shocked at some point if this doesn't start to go to like a 55-45% split and then a 60-40. If Rico keeps being explosive, he's going to find himself in the game more often than Chuba, especially if the game script goes negative. So I think I like Rico over Chuba. What's Shakir been like this year, Brant? Has he done anything?
If I could type, we'd already
Not really. He's had 1 week inside the top 20 wide receivers. He's had 3 weeks of a wide receiver 3 and then 2 weeks outside of it altogether. So
I honestly think I start both the running backs. That's a beautiful matchup for them against Buffalo. I think I start both the running backs.
Yeah, I agree. I think I go both running backs here. I don't necessarily love starting both Panthers running backs, but I do it nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Christian says, by the way, he's stoked to have found us. Thanks. He says, I'm going to say thanks to you, Christian, because one, It's very flattering that you make it sound like Brant and I, being a couple fat boys, are hard to find. We're pretty out there. So thank you for that, compliment. That makes me feel a little slimmer this morning, but we're here every Sunday, man. Come hang out.
Yeah, we're here every Sunday. We do our best to get one out every Wednesday. We do have some busy lives, but we try to at least get something out every Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, definitely keep joining us. We appreciate that you found us, and we appreciate the compliment telling us that we were able to hide somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Also, if you're not following us on the Fantasy Holics page, or you're new to it, it's the best page out there for fantasy. It really is. Brant and I do the least amount for the page out of everybody out there. We just put our ugly fat faces out and talk football with you guys, twice a week usually. But the guys behind the scenes over there are definitely very in tune with all things NFL. So definitely a good follow on your part, Christian. Hopefully it helps you start winning some fantasy weeks. Not saying you weren't doing that already, but hopefully it keeps you there. You know what I mean?
Elliot said he stashed Watson. Who do I drop to keep him, Cup or Shakur?
Either one.
Yeah, either one. Honestly, either one.
I mean, let's let the play speak for themselves. Khalil Shakir is wide receiver 37 on the season. Cooper Kupp is 45. I'm dropping Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna drop Cooper Kupp as well.
JSN's too good. Nothing's changing in that pecking order anytime soon.
Nope.
John says Flacco or Caleb or Rodgers. I honestly think I go.
Flacco's not in Cleveland anymore.
I honestly think I go Flacco on this one. I really do.
Yeah, I think I go Flacco as well. He's got the better targets. So yeah, I think I go with Flacco as well. And with what it's looking like, Sauce Gardner being out, yeah.
Yep, I agree. All right, Brant, I want to do something a little bit different this week. Let's get our underdog plays of the week and our touchdown scores over with now, because there are so many injuries that we're going to have to talk about and update at that 10:30 mark here Central Time, when that news starts to come out. So let's get ahead of that if you're ready.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Brant, take me through your underdog card for this week.
All right. Well, I'm not going to have any tight ends on this one. I know it's National Tight Ends Day, but I don't have any tight ends on this one right now. I'll talk about them here shortly. I got Evan McPherson to go higher than 1.5 field goal made. I think that Flacco's got the offense going. They may struggle down there to get in the end zone, so I think they'll lean on the field goal a little bit. I got Roma Dunze to go higher than 51.5 receiving yards. I like the matchup there against Baltimore. And then I got Drake May to go higher than 224.5 passing yards. Once again, I not coming off of that. I think they're going to protect him. Cleveland's good against the run, so he's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. And then I got Jonathan Taylor to go higher than 19.5 yards for his longest rush. And then that's going to go right into my other one. This is why I don't like any of the pass catchers. I got Daniel Jones lower than 29.5 pass attempts. I just don't think that they're going to have to throw a whole lot. This Tennessee team is not very good. Indy's defense has been phenomenal, so they could end up scoring some points and running it up too. So I think this is a JT game.
All right, Brant, I'm going to follow suit with you and not talk about tight ends a whole lot in this section, but maybe more later. I'm going to start it off with Kyle Pitts Sr. to have higher than 4.5 receptions this week. Drake London being banged up, Kirk Cousins in. I think Kyle Pitts has a good game. I'm going to go to George Kittle to have higher than 4.5 receptions this week. Came back healthy last week, was kind of on the field just for blocking purposes, but said he feels comfortable again this week. I think he gets going, which leads me right into my next one. If this guy plays, I've got Dalton Kincaid higher than 3.5 receptions this week. I think he's the alpha in that offense when he's healthy. I think he's a go-to guy for Josh Allen. Definitely finds a way to get himself open. Which leads me right into my next guy. I've got Juwan Johnson higher than 3.5 receptions for the New Orleans Saints. I think this is a game that they try to keep close, division rivals. And honestly, I just think Juwan Johnson gets back on track this week. And last but not least, I've got Mark Andrews higher than 23.5 receiving yards this week. Snoop Huntley under center. Last time Snoop Huntley was in town, Mark Andrews had a really nice game with Snoop. So follow suit there. And it is tight end week. I can't help myself, Bran. I went to tight end heavy on all things props this week. So let's go ahead and get into these touchdowns, knock these out real quick, and see where we're at.
All right. So now I hope that Pitts does have higher than 4.5 receptions, and I hope one of them finds the end zone because I have Kyle Pitts to find the end zone. I hope one of George Kittle's catches finds the end zone because I have George Kittle to find the end zone as well. I have Tyler Warren to find the end zone. Might be the only pass catcher that I'm comfortable with in Indy this week. And then I got Dallas Goedert to find the end zone as well without A.J. Brown. So I went a little tight and heavy. I did go for 4 touchdowns, all 4 of them tight ends with Kittle, Goedert, Pitts, and Warren.
Wow. So I went tight end heavy on Underdog. You went tight end heavy for your touchdowns. That's crazy. I also have George Kittle and Kyle Pitts finding the end zone this week. Again, tight end week. What else can you say? George Kittle just seems to go off every time that happens. I have Harold Fannin finding the end zone for the Cleveland Browns this week. He's been a stud all season long. Slowly taking over, Njoku taking a back seat. And then the other one I've got is a guy that you were kind of high on earlier in this episode, Brand. I've got Cade Otton to find the end zone for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. It's, again, National Tight End Week. I can't say any more about it. These guys always seem to go off, get featured, have big games. It's just a fun week for the tight end position. So there you go, Brant. We're in agreement on those.
Okay.
All right, let's get caught back up on some of these questions here. And then we'll start scanning the interwebs to see what we can find for injury updates. First one is from Liz. She says Cincinnati or Chicago, assuming this is a defensive question.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going with Cincinnati. I think Chicago or Baltimore will be serviceable without Jackson. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
John says, ugly wide receiver 3 question. Noel or Leggett? I'm going with Leggett. He saw 11 targets from Andy Dalton. If Bryce Young somehow plays, which I don't think it has come out. Last I saw, he was doubtful. If Bryce Young plays, maybe I'll go towards Noel, but I think I go with Leggett.
Yeah, Jalen Noel kind of had his coming out party last week against your Seattle Seahawks. 7 targets, 4 receptions, 77 yards. Definitely looked to be somebody who CJ Stroud was looking for. And he's going to have to look for him an awful lot this week without Nico Collins. So I actually think I do go Jalen Noel. He could be the wide receiver 1 in his offense this week. I honestly thought going into the season, Jaden Higgins would be the guy in Houston to step up. Nico Collins being out, it doesn't appear it's going to go that way. It looks like it's Jalen Noel. I expect him to have a pretty good game this week. All right, Tony says pick 2 in standard scoring: Javonte Williams, Kyron Williams, or Scatabo. I'm not going to take Kyron Williams because they're on a bye this week.
So I'm going to go Javonte and Scatabo.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Jamie says Warren or Swift, Tez Johnson or Flowers. Okay, so 2 questions. If Swift plays, I'm going with Swift against that defense. Green Bay's defense is pretty serviceable against the run, so I'm going to go with Swift, and then I'm going with Tez Johnson with Lamar out.
First of all, Jamie, sorry you had to go watch Detroit mop up the field with your Buccaneers last Monday night in person. You went up to Ford Field and got to see a beat down. As a Falcons fan, I did enjoy that one probably a little more than you did. However, for your questions, I will say Warren, just because of Swift being banged up, and on the other part, I'm going to go Tez Johnson. I'll get down with Brent on that one. I don't love Tez Johnson, but I will on that one.
Okay.
Liz, the question was the Chicago defense or the Bengals defense. We both agreed to go ahead and go with the Bengals defense because of how bad the Jets offense looks. So that's the more comfortable start there.
Matt says Josh Down or Krosky Merritt. I'm going with Krosky Merritt. I'm just not I'm not in on the pass catchers there with in Indy this week, so I'm going with Merritt.
God, I don't like Bill at all. Every time he gets an opportunity, he's bad. And the Kansas City Chiefs have a very, very formidable run defense. I'm going Josh Downs. I want no part of Krosky Merritt. He's going to have to show me a thing that he can do it for a couple of weeks before I'm all over it, because I'm going to be honest with you. This team, I guarantee you this Washington Commanders team has big time regrets about trading Brian Robinson. And if he was still in town, we wouldn't even know Corey Krosky Merritt's name. He's bad. He's got to show me something before I trust him. I'm not interested at all at this point. Andre says, morning, gentlemen, need one for flex PPR. Alec Pierce or Josh Downs, Noel on waivers, and then he's got Flacco or Fields.
Flacco. I'll go with that one.
Okay. Yeah, Flacco. I agree. Yeah, I don't know why I hesitated. Yeah, I agree with that one.
I hesitated because I jumped straight to that one. I missed the first question altogether. It's Flacco.
Listen, if Brant's out on Fields now, he might start being a good quarterback. So consider that. But no, I'm just kidding. Flacco.
I don't think I go out and pick up Noel. I do like him this week. I just don't. I mean, how long is Nico out and everybody else out?
Well, I'll tell you who's out for the entire year is your boy. Help me out. Their wide receiver there that shattered his leg last year that you love. Help me out. Houston Texans, IR. Yes, you do.
Hang on. Let me go to my roster because I don't remember his name.
Why is that eluding me? Thank you. Tank Dell is absolutely out for a while, so Jalen Noel's got a chance.
Because we haven't had to deal with Tank Dell at all this year. So he's just out for probably this week. That was Pierce.
I think I want Noel on my roster. I really do. I mean, I'm gonna say this, Andres. I think if Jalen Noel has a good week again this week, forget about picking him up because you aren't getting him. It'll be number one waiver claim again next week if he has a good game again this week. That being said, Alec Pierce and Josh Downs are similar in value to me at this point. Josh Downs is 5 spots better than Alec Pierce currently on the season. Alec Pierce coming off of a big game. I honestly think I drop Alec Pierce for Jalen Noel. I really do.
Yeah, I think, and if you're going to do that, if you're going to go add Noel, I'm okay with starting him this week over both of them too. So yeah, probably I would drop Pierce for Noel as well. Now that I've gone back and look, I really didn't know what Alec Pierce was doing. Jonathan Taylor has been so good this year. Some of the pass catchers outside of Tyler Warren have kind of been overshadowed by that and Daniel Jones.
So we're saying this question becomes Jalen Noel or Downs having to play one, or are we saying Jalen Noel this week with the injuries?
Yep.
I agree. So Tony did come back to us and says that it's Javonte Williams, James Cook, and Cam Scatterbo. So now, assuming it's James Cook and not Kyron Williams, do you change who you want there?
Yeah, it's let's see, the Giants have. Why am I alluding to this? They have Philly. I think it's Javonte and James Cook. I definitely think James Cook is a great start this week against Carolina. So it's definitely James Cook and Williams.
Yep, I agree. Jamie does say that's cold. Have fun with Cousins. I don't have a choice, Jamie. I'm just glad I'm not spending money to go watch it in person. And but yeah, that's fair. Appreciate that.
John says Krosky Merritt or Goddard. Without AJ Brown, I think I go Goddard.
Yep, it's Goddard. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna hear me advocate for Krosky Merritt. I'm not gonna do it. He's gonna have to show me a week or two before I start getting on board with anything of that relation. So I'll go Krosky Merritt, or excuse me, I'll go Goddard over Krosky Merritt.
Debo and Terry McLaurin will be playing tomorrow. That's on NFL right now. They just came out. Both of them are playing. Still without Jaden Daniels, though.
All right.
Mark.
Let's go ahead.
Mark asked, Dart, Daniel Jones, or Flacco?
I think I go Flacco again.
Yeah, I think I go Flacco here as well. I feel like earlier I said Dart, but yeah, I think I go with Flacco, though. I'm trying to go back on where I saw Dart, make sure I didn't.
So there is some updates while you're looking at that. There is some updates starting to come out. Matthew Golden, who was listed as questionable with a hip injury, is expected to play today. So him and Christian Watson will both be on the field for the Green Bay Packers this morning.
Yeah. So
or this evening, excuse me.
Yep. So yeah, I'm going Flacco on that one.
Yeah, I agree. It's Joe Flacco for me in that one at this point. So just because of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is still a Cincinnati Bengal, so that's good for me. All right, we're about 13 minutes away from some of these injuries starting to come out, so we're going to start paying attention to that. Jamie does say Noel or Tez. I could pick up Noel. I already have a Egbuka. So would you start Tez over Jalen Noel this week?
I think I go with Tez.
Yeah, I agree. It's Tez for me as well. Or actually, it's not Tez for me as well. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. I was reading a couple questions ahead. There's a question that's got some food relation into it, and that's got me excited. I'm going to go with Jalen Noel, saying that I think he has a big week this week with no Nico Collins. Just the simple fact that Jalen Noel did that last week, and then he's coming in this week without Nico to be the guy. I'm kind of all in on Jalen Noel this week. So if you can pick him up, you have somebody that's easy drop. I think that's something you definitely do. So I'm just not that interested in Tez right now. I think I don't know. I just can't get myself to play Tez. So.
John's asked, Rodgers has a good game tonight. Revenge game. Revenge. He says it's not a revenge game. He's excited to go see everybody there. Yes, I do think he has a good game tonight. I think it's actually going to be a pretty fun game to watch. I have not seen these throwbacks that you're talking about. I'm actually going to look those up too while we get into the next one.
Yeah, it's gross. So I wouldn't look it up. My boy Greg is actually going to that Steelers-Packers game tonight in Pittsburgh. He asks Fields or Flacco. I'll let Brand answer that part here in just a second. He says he's going with pierogies for lunch and then Steel City Singers for the rest of the day. Stingers, excuse me, not singers. Don't eat too many pierogies, though, because you're going to puke when you see these two teams trot out onto the field tonight because they're both wearing throwback uniforms. That Steelers throwback is one of the ugliest uniforms in football. It's abysmal. I do hope you see a great game with your Steelers coming out on top. Hopefully somehow, some way, Jalen Warren has like 3 touchdowns this week. That'd be pretty cool. But as far as the quarterback question, Brant, what are you thinking Fields on that one?
Flacco.
Brant learned his lesson last week on the Justin Fields side of things. So yeah, I'm going to go with Flacco as well. I think, Greg, you got to watch Flacco torch your Steelers last week, Thursday night. Yeah, I know you really enjoyed that contest. So I think you go with Flacco on that one.
Green Bay's going all white, so theirs isn't too bad, but
It's ugly. It's all white for them is not ugly, or is not good looking.
They couldn't just stick with the Bumblebee uniform.
Have you found it yet?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
It's ugly.
It is. Definitely is. Yeah, that's definitely pretty gross. All right. Well, I'm sorry. That's definitely going to hurt my eyes.
It takes a lot to get rid of my appetite, but that would be close to.
Yeah.
Close
I'll
to
make sure I eat all my food before Sunday night game. Not that that's hard to do for me.
Right. I wasn't going to say that. All right. We should be, like I said, starting to get some decent updates here in the next few minutes. So let's do my new favorite thing for to put us on the spot each and every week. Brant, myself included, I don't have this written down until we go through and do it. Who is RB1 on the week in your eyes this week?
Jonathan Taylor. I'm not playing fancy. I'm not getting cute. It's Jonathan Taylor. They're going to lean on him. I think he's going to break a few long ones off. Probably another 2-3 touchdown game. Thank goodness I don't have to play against him in our home league this week. I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor.
Did you have to play against Jonathan Taylor last week, Brant?
Don't you have him?
Oh, so you're saying I beat you in our home league? Okay, I just want to make sure.
You didn't beat me. You destroyed me. All your running backs had multiple touchdowns, I feel like.
That's true. I'm also going to keep this very simple. I am going with Bijan Robinson. If Drake London's out, no Michael Penix this week. Do the Dolphins have a run defense? Last I checked, no. So I'm going Bijan. Feels like we're both taking the easy way out, but I think it works. Who's your wide receiver one?
Well, I did have Drake London written down, and then Chris Olave.
I do like Chris Olave this week.
I think he's going to have to get targeted. I think that secondary is still banged up pretty well for Tampa Bay. So, I'm going to go with Chris Olave.
I want to take the easy way out and say Jamar Chase because I think Jamar Chase could be that guy, but I'm actually going to say CeeDee Lamb is it against Patrick Surtain and the Broncos this week. I think he gets a healthy little day this week. All right, who's tight end one on National Tight End Week, Brant?
George Kittle. Once again, not being cute, nothing else. The man shows up on tight end week. I'm going with George Kittle.
I'll take Tyler Warren out for the Indianapolis Colts this week. Just because I didn't take him any of my props, he'll probably be the number one. So I'll go Tyler Warren on that one.
Okay. Tony says, I was hoping Lamar was back today because Stafford on bye, so needed QB. Best available in my league are Flacco, Lawrence, Rattler, or Cousins. I go with Flacco here.
Flacco, Lawrence is also on a bye week this week. I don't trust Spencer Rattler, so I think I go Flacco as well. I'll be honest, I think Kirk Cousins is kind of intriguing, but if London's out, I'm not interested in him whatsoever. So I think I do lean Flacco on this one as well, similarly to how Brandon did.
So while these injuries are coming in, I'm going to go over a few that we already have heard. Maybe a few days ago, I just found a list of the teams that have people that are questionable and everything. Purdy and Pearsall are both out for the Niners. Nico and Kirk both out for the Texans. Swift is still questionable. Haven't heard anything else. Lamar is officially out. I think that was a couple of days ago. Bryce Young is still doubtful. Nothing updated yet. AJ Brown is out, and that's. Njoku is still questionable. Shadur Sanders is questionable. I know you definitely wanted to know that one.
I was thinking about playing him actually. Yeah.
Sauce and Garrett Wilson are both out, and did I say Tyrod Taylor's out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mason Taylor is questionable, but it looks like he's trending to play. Breeze Hall is questionable, but trending to play. Drake is questionable still. Algier is questionable. Bucky's out. Godwin's out. So,
I don't know if you just got the update I just got on Sleeper, but the Cowboys went big game hunting this week to try to trade for a defensive edge. They tried to trade for Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson, and were turned away on both of those. So that's kind of interesting news there.
Yeah, I feel like they already had a defensive end.
What was his name?
Parsons.
First name?
I don't know.
Neither is Jerry. Scott says, morning, guys. 1 point PPR flexing. It's either DK or Tet, and then Chase Brown or Dowdle.
I think I go with.
It's got to be DK, right?
I think I go with DK, and I think I go with Dowdle.
Yeah, I think it has to be DK in a revenge game. That's not a revenge game, and in Rodgers' mind, that's absolutely a revenge game. And then as far as the Chase Brown or Dowdle, you said Dowdle.
Mm-hmm.
I think just because of the fact that Chuba Hubbard does still exist, I will go Chase Brown on that side of things.
Okay. No, apparently my sleeper doesn't like to update me on anything.
Well, X seems to be struggling right now, so that's not great for inactives.
I did see Kareem Hunt will be active this week.
Kyle Pitts is showing up to the game rocking an old school Mike Ditka jersey. So look out for Kyle Pitts this week. He's going to be probably not very good. Here we go.
Well, while we're waiting for some of these injury news, give me a bold prediction you have this week, whether it be a team upsetting somebody or something you got. Let me put you on the spot a little bit. Give me a little bold prediction that you have this week.
Derrick Henry bounce back against the Chicago Bears.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I don't know how bold that is because the Bears run defense sucks and Derrick Henry is still King Henry. So I guess that's not that bold. Let me look around for something else here.
I'm going to go with Washington upsets Kansas City on Monday night with Mariota. That's my bold prediction. I think Washington upsets Kansas City. They get both receivers back. I don't 100% trust Mariota, but I think Washington finds a way to upset him.
I will go with the Dallas Cowboys. Stomp a mud hole in the Denver Broncos defense and make people question how good that defense is. Dak Prescott continues his MVP level of play, and the Cowboys, I say the Cowboys walk out of there over a scored winner this week.
Okay. All right. Jennifer says Golden, Juwan Johnson, or Shepard. I want to lean Johnson, but I'm
Drake
sure.
London inactive.
Oh my goodness. I gotta go fix that. I mean, that's our vampire league. 7 targets last week, and Shepard had Shepard was 7 for 7, 25 yards. I think I go with Johnson on that one. I think I lean Johnson.
Yeah, I think I'm going Juwan Johnson by the slightest of margins, but I think I'm with you on that one. I don't trust Matthew Golden at this point, and Sterling Shepard. Who knows? Outside of Ibuka, who knows with that Buccaneers offense? So I'll go with Juwan.
Greg's big bold take is Hurts to Dotson for a long TD. I'd be okay with that one. I like that one.
There'd be some money on if you took Jahan Dotson to find the end zone. Jahan Dotson, to find the end zone this week. That'd probably be pretty decent plus money. So I like that one. Scott says PPR Otten, Schultz, or Fannin if Njoku is out.
If Njoku's out, I go Fannin. But you know what? Schultz is a sneaky good play. He's been a sneaky good tight end all year for the Texans, and missing both Kirk and Collins. He could be in for a huge game. So if Njoku is out, I will go Fannin just because they won't have both of them. But I am going to lean Schultz on this.
Yeah, I agree. I go Schultz if Njoku plays. I go Schultz. I just think because of who's out in that team, I think that's definitely a good play. Interesting thought. You don't normally bring this up in relation to fantasy, but Cam Jurgens is out for the Eagles this week, so I wonder if the tush push is out of play. That is their starting center, so that's definitely something interesting to potentially keep an eye on.
Yep. Definitely is.
Inactives are pouring in. Sounds like Njoku is expected to play.
Okay.
Breaking news, Deshaun Watson out for the Cleveland Browns.
Whoa. Never would have guessed that one.
No Brock Purdy, no Ricky Pearsall again for the Niners.
Like you said, London is out.
Still haven't seen anything officially ruling out Bryce Young. You'd think that'd be pouring in.
Bills inactive are Palmer. That's the only offensive one. That was 2 minutes ago. Shadur Sanders is inactive.
That's big news. Big news there. Brees Hall has not been updated yet. He's still a game time decision.
Bengals inactives are the Bears. Roshan Johnson's out for the Bears. Cole Kmet is out, so Loveland gets a boost.
Mm-hmm. David Njoku is for sure playing. That's the second time I've seen him.
Okay. All right.
Still some big names we're waiting to hear out what yes or no's on, with like Brees Hall, Bryce Young at quarterback. There's still plenty of names out there that we haven't gotten updates on yet, and those will continue to pour in over the next 25 minutes or so.
Kincaid is playing.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, a lot of names. Oh no, the Bengals have a tight end that's inactive on tight end week. You can't do that. Oh yeah, a lot of names, a lot of injuries this week, especially at the quarterback with Bryce Young and Penix, and then the whole debacle there in with the Jets. And then you got Tua's questionable as well. Daniels is out. A lot of quarterbacks, a lot of questions to be answered this week.
All right, I'm going to pose a question to you, Brant, and then anybody who's still listening. I need some help in one of my leagues this week. I am Sam Laporta is my starting tight end in this week. I'm chasing points. I need a tight end. I had Mason Taylor in, who I was kind of intrigued by if Tyrod played. Don't necessarily want Mason Taylor out there with Justin Fields, even though there is no Garrett Wilson. But do I go Mason Taylor, Theo Johnson, or I could go get on the waiver wire, Jonnu Smith or Juwan Johnson are both available.
I think you go with Theo Johnson.
You play Theo?
I think so too. I do. Yeah, I think I go with Theo. It's funny you said Jonnu. You said Jonnu and Jennings, and literally I look up at the NFL Game Day, and that was their fantasy start sit question was Jonnu and Jennings.
So just for it, to put it into perspective, Theo Johnson did have a tight end 35 finish when they played Philly 2 weeks ago. Philly's number 5 against the tight end.
I guess they are really better. Yeah, I don't. They're unfortunately going to have to stick with Fields all game because they don't have anybody to run back. Honestly, Jonnu is probably not a bad play. He's seen 4, 6, 3, 3, 4, and 6 targets. So I honestly maybe go.
So number 31 against the tight end. So.
Yeah, maybe go get Jonnu.
I had already done that as we were talking it out live. I dropped Theo Johnson to go pick up Jonnu Smith and plug him in the lineup. So still chasing an uphill battle. I was smart enough to play Quentin Johnston in that league this week. So,
well, the plus side in the league that I have Drake London in, I could have played Quentin Johnston and still ended up with the same score.
Yeah, that's true.
DeAndre Swift is officially active.
Gross.
And Kincaid is active. Christian just came at us and let us know that.
Tyler Algiers, good to go. Brees Hall, good to go. Mason Taylor, good to go. So that's good on Brees Hall. Brant, I wanted to talk about it Wednesday night on the show, but, we let you have your solo this week after I did mine. I wanted to talk kind of about how in that league, you and I started the season out saying we were not in contention. We were trying to sell everything. And all of a sudden we've made trades this week for CeeDee Lamb and Brees Hall and are going all in that league. So I think it's just interesting how things come to fruition and all of a sudden it's like, you go from a team that you thought, we looked at the season, we were like, we have no starting running backs. We had Rico Dowdle and Jalen Warren as our 1-2. And that's been really good for us. And things, Scadabo came on and took over at a good time for us. That team's really, we survived waiting for Rashee Rice to come back. And now all of a sudden we're starting, not this week because of injuries, but wide receiver core of Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice, and CeeDee Lamb. I'm not sure there's many better wide receiver cores out there than that. And so I just wanted to bring up how interesting it can be from going into a season thinking you're a non-contender to all of a sudden going, we got a chance.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Things change. Things change at a drop of a dime in fantasy. You get an injury and all of a sudden your running backs are, the starters. I mean, I think at one point we had Trey Benson as well. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for us except for 1 week. But now, like you said, we're starting Brees Hall and Cam Scadabo. Jonnu Smith, as we just talked about, has been pretty much our tight end all year in that league. He's been doing his thing. Javonte Williams, we were nervous about. But yeah, no, we went in and our quarterbacks in a super flex league, Jackson Dart started showing up. Unfortunately, we're starting both Gabriel and Dart this week, which honestly hasn't been bad. Lawrence and Murray were our original two, but things can change just real quick in fantasy. So you have to be ready to start making moves and everything else, especially in dynasty. Like you said, we went in this year going, man, we're starting a roll of the dice at running backs. We weren't even sure if we had 2 of them to start. Now all of a sudden we're able to start. We got 4 of them starting this week. We've got 4 running backs starting this week, and we didn't even think we had 2 at the beginning of the year. Yeah, no, our wide receiver. Yeah, unfortunately, Alec Iamore has done great for us too, as one of our flex. We've started him in and out of the lineup as well all year. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Bryce Young is officially out.
Yep, just saw that one too. We got to start 3 wide receivers. Okay. Originally, I scanned right over CD Lamb, and there I go, dude, we messed up on our lineup somewhere. Nope, we're good. Yeah, Bryce Young, DJ Dallas, and Hunter Renfrow were the 3 offensive players that were inactive for Carolina. I saw Jalen Hyatt and Jamison Winston out for the Giants. No real names on New England. Jair, Lamar Jackson, both officially out for the Ravens. Drake London, and we've already gone over that. Quinn Ewers is inactive for Miami. That's interesting. I think.
Yeah, I was just looking at something that Adam Schefter just shared. I think they were talking about it on ESPN, as a matter of fact. But quarterbacks who are now 1 play away from getting action in the NFL this week: Cooper Rush, Easton Stick, Hendon Hooker, Brady Cook, and Josh Johnson. So your Sunday slate could go from intriguing to disgusting really quick. So.
Intriguing to go see. Let's see what this backup's going to do. Guess I do need to move London. So here we go. Let's see. Who do I put in his spot? So London is out. So do I put Leggett, Slayton, Downs, or Ingram in?
Is that Evan Ingram?
Yes.
Josh Downs. You took Leggett over Downs earlier. I thought that's who that question was. Maybe it was Leggett over Noel. But
that's in our Vampire League that I thought I was horrible in, and apparently I'm 3-4. Still probably won't make the playoffs in that league, though.
You're 3-4, but next week we'll talk about it, and you'll tell me you're a 1-win team again, like you do every week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. This is a Vampire League where we don't really have waivers, and I feel like every week I'm like, hey, another guy on the IR. I held on to Kittle forever, and if he shows out as tight end 1, I'll be 4-4 at the end of this week, and still telling you I only have 1 win.
That's true.
I'll tell you on Tuesday, I got my first win, guys. Look at it.
Man, just this week, you talk about Mageddon, apocalypse, whatever you want to call it this week, and then some of the injuries that have happened to players that are like supposed to be like Garrett Wilson out, Lamar Jackson, Drake London, some of these names that are supposed to be out there playing for us, and it's not good.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's been a very, very weird year for injuries.
Or maybe you're like me, and Quentin Johnston's the guy you got to play to negate that, and might as well just let the other player in there. Scott does come at us with a question. He says, standard Waddle or Darnell Mooney.
This is interesting. Mooney moves over to the 1. Pitts is in for a good game. But it is Kirk Cousins. But then again, Waddle gets Tua. I think I go with Waddle.
I think I go with Darnell Mooney. Wide receiver 1, no Drake London. Yeah, I go Darnell Mooney on that one. I think Darnell Mooney could be in line for a huge week against that Dolphins secondary.
Okay. No, actually, you know what? Let me. This week is all these questionables and inactives. I'm going back through all my lineups here. I'm getting messed up. Christian comes at us with a trade question. We know we like those. Debo and Judkins for Puka. I think I don't do that. Running backs are so.
I want to see what the rest of your lineup or what the rest of your running backs look like. That could be a big determining factor. If you've got a plethora of running backs, maybe. But if you don't have a plethora of running backs, I don't know if I could get rid of Judkins this year.
Yeah, because receivers are seem to be a little easier to come by than running backs that are actually guaranteed to be the workhorses or seeing the majority of the work. So that's hard to trade. So, yeah, I'd like to see what the rest of your lineup looks like.
I mean, that's running back 15, wide receiver 19 for wide receiver. I'm sure he's still top 5 at this point, but wide receiver 4. So, I mean, you're probably taking away 2 starters from your lineup for 1 elite starter. So, Christian, I would need to know what running backs you would plug that from Judkins with to determine whether or not I would do it, because Puka's going to be elite when he comes back. I mean, that's not going to go away. But Debo's missed some time, and he's still wide receiver 19. Judkins didn't play, the first 2 weeks of the season, and he's running back 15. So realistically, if you add those 2 average weeks to both those guys, you're probably looking at 2 top 10 assets there. So I honestly don't think I'd do that, as tempting as it is to go get Puka. And let's be honest with ourselves. We got to ask, why is the Puka owner willing to make that move? It's because of the upside of the other 2 players. So, and maybe Brant, maybe we're reading this wrong. Maybe it's you're trading away Puka for Debo and Judkins. In that case, I probably do it. But if I don't think I do trade Puka at this point, I just or trade for him, not for those 2. I don't.
Right. Yeah, it's tough to move out for one of those guys. Either one of them, really.
Did just come across through our team's chat for the Fantasy Holics, Brant. Nick Mangold did pass suddenly, 41 years of age, former center for the New York Jets. Looks like he was in dire need of a kidney transplant. So I'm going to assume, not to make light of the situation, but I'm going to assume that he passed of kidney failure if I had to guess. But definitely a sad day. Nick Mangold was he epitomized New York Jets football, that nitty gritty, beat 'em up kind of football that was played there in New York. So that's definitely a sad day for the New York Jets, team and fan base, I'm sure. So our thoughts are with Nick Mangold's family in this difficult time. So
absolutely.
All right. So we do have about 10 minutes before we get off of here. This week, I always like to get this out there and put it out there in the chat in case you don't get your questions in with Brant and I in time, or there is a late injury. We have seen players get concussed or almost lose an eye warming up for games and become late adds to the injury report. So if a question doesn't get answered in time with us, or you have one for a little bit later in the show, don't hesitate to go to the Fantasy Holics page on Facebook and ask your question on the live start sit or the start sit comment section they'll have there. There'll be a post, so you can go drop it and they'll answer it, and they'll give you their name as to who's answering it and a little bit of rationale behind it. So if you don't get it in with us in time, don't hesitate to go there, drop that question and ask those guys their thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Get in on there. Myself and Bo hop on there from time to time. I know we're a little busy getting our stuff together after this. So, yeah, definitely hop on there. Sherman comes at us with his wide receivers are trash. Should he start Downs, Pierce, or Sleep? I guess I go with Downs here.
I'm assuming
Slayton.
Okay, I was gonna say I assumed that was probably a
I was waiting for it to come.
an autocorrect that, or it was my wide receivers are so bad. If you don't like these two, I'm just going to sleep and not watch. Which, understandably so. That I'm all in on Downs this week. I really am. Downs is kind of my guy this week, so I'm rolling with him in this one as well.
I am also sticking with Downs over the other two.
All right, Brant. It's the biggest part of the show for us every week. It's the thing that we get most excited about. Football, obviously, being on is number one, but very close 1B. What is on the menu for you this week?
White trash sliders. So it's hamburger, sausage, Velveeta cheese, all mixed up, thrown on the slider buns, and just kind of a messy burger going on. We're going to do some white trash sliders is what they were called. And then my wife found some oatmeal cream pies, which we all know those are my favorite cheesecake bites. And then I'm going to do some dip. I haven't quite got into which dip I'm going. We got a whole bunch of chips left over from a bonfire we had last weekend. So I'm going to be using those and find some dip to go with it.
Okay. It just, to me, it feels like chili, some kind of like a chili cheese dip or something like that may be the case, because that feels like a themed dip to go along with what you got going on there. Maybe like a deer chili dip or something. I don't know. I wish I could say I had a great menu this week. My wife does run a cheer program here in our small little town, and we do have their awards banquet this today. Unfortunately, I've tried to tell my wife, honey, you're in charge of that. You can schedule it for a Saturday and not make your husband despise you for the few hours that we have to be there. But nonetheless, we are doing pulled pork and some mac and cheese and all kinds of cookies and dessert. And the good news is when your wife's in charge of that, all the leftovers come home with you. So probably be eating that for the foreseeable future. But unfortunately, that does result in me sitting and watching my phone on a 6.5 inch, or watching football on a 6.5 inch screen for the first 3 hours of the day. So, not great on any fronts there for me. So,
yeah, absolutely. That is I've had to do it. It's rough. Mine also has their cheer banquet today, but my wife is not fully in charge of it, so they get to go on their own. I don't have to go help with that at all.
Lucky guy.
Yeah. So that just means she's going to plan something next week when Seattle plays again, and we're not on a bye.
Just checking to make sure there's not any other late breaking outs that have come out here. Does not appear so. Chef, you did say Nick Mangold did pass due to complications from kidney disease. So there is the update on that. Not the update you want to talk about on a Sunday morning, but
right.
There it is nonetheless. So. All right, Brant. So your Seahawks are on bye. So take me through what's your 1 o'clock slate game that you're going to be watching this week. Just because I know who I'm going to be watching, and it's going to be on a very small screen. So I'm going to live vicariously through you. Who are you watching on this noon slate here, 1 o'clock slate?
Originally, it was going to be Atlanta and Miami. When this schedule came out, I was looking at it. I said that should be a good game. Tua versus Penix, young blood, going at it, and then now we're looking at it and there's banged up Miami team that has not performed, and then you guys with missing Penix. Honestly, I think I'm gonna I haven't really got a chance to watch New England, so I think I'm gonna tune into that New England game. This is gonna be the week that I'm gonna use my Sunday ticket, and I'm gonna 4-way it. I'll probably have 4 games going on. So I'm definitely going to be picking up those. Chicago-Baltimore intrigues me a little bit, but I doubt that's one that I glue onto. But I think it's going to be that New England and Cleveland game.
Yeah, if I wasn't going to be watching the Falcons game, I think it would be the Giants-Eagles for me, just because I haven't got to watch a whole lot of Scatabo and Dart play together, and I think that's a fun little duo there that's to watch. But how about in that 3 o'clock slate?
Dallas, Denver. I want to see if Denver turned on the light and they realize, hey, we got to push the ball down the field more earlier in the game rather than wait till the fourth quarter where we want to hang 33 points and come back and win. So, and they're going to have to. Dallas is like hanging 40 points a week, so you're going to have to push the ball earlier. So that Dallas Denver game, I'm going to be glued in on that one, pretty closely.
Okay, yeah, I think that Dallas Denver game's the one. It feels like must-watch TV. I think, like you said, Dak's playing MVP level. Everybody talks up and hypes up this Broncos defense. It's been susceptible. They've gotten torched by a couple of teams this year, so definitely be interesting to see how that Denver team responds to this week with the powerful offense coming in. But the good news for Denver's offense is there's no defense on the other side of the ball, so it should be one of those contests. It's like, one team goes out and scores, the other team goes out and scores, and it's really going to be up to the Denver Broncos defense to win this game, I think, because both offenses are capable of putting up points, but only one of these defenses, in my mind, is capable of stopping points. So
right.
Definitely be interesting to see there. And then, of course, Sunday Night Football, I think, is going to be, if you can get past the ugly uniforms, I think it is going to be, kind of an electric atmosphere. You've got the Packers coming into Pittsburgh, so it won't be quite as electric as it would be for A-Rod to return to Green Bay. But this Pittsburgh Steelers team's playing well with Aaron Rodgers under center. And really the Packers team, Brant, I think when they came out and beat Detroit week 1, they acquired Micah Parsons. I think everybody was kind of saying, this team's a Super Bowl team. And then they got humbled by the Cleveland Browns. They had that tie with the Dallas Cowboys. Then they come out after a bye week and barely get past the Arizona Cardinals. I guess that was 2 weeks after their bye. They come back and barely get past the Arizona Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett under center. I think we're still got a lot of questions that need to be answered by this Green Bay team.
Yeah, they definitely need to if they do get it all together, both offensive, defense, and everything else, they are a very good team, maybe Super Bowl caliber. So yeah, they're definitely trying to figure it out and get everything together. And I mean, if you ask our coworkers after week 1, they had already won the Super Bowl. There was no reason to play the other 20 weeks of the NFL season. But it's that Green Bay team. They everything's there. They got a good quarterback. They have a decent offensive line. Their defense is normally pretty good. They haven't put everything together yet. And when they do, they can be extremely dangerous. And then you talk about that Pittsburgh team who everyone thought, okay, it's Mike Tomlin. He's going to have a winning record, 9-8. And then you look and like Aaron Rodgers looks good. He's starting to push the ball further down the field. He's not just looking for dink and dump passes. I think this is going to turn into one heck of a game.
Yeah, definitely feels that way. So again, guys, it is National Tight End Week. So as you're putting together your props and obviously you should be doing it on Underdog, so you can use the code HOLIX and get you a little extra value to go play with there. But as you're building it, remember to include a little tight end love in your action this week, because they should have good games. It seems to happen every year on National Tight End Week. You see these guys kind of as a focal point of their offense. Brant and I both had them all over our props this week. So definitely look for that. And again, if you didn't get your questions in time with us, jump over to the Fantasy Holics Facebook page, throw them in there. And I hope everybody has a good week 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good luck, guys. Enjoy this week 8. It's a good little slate going on. I know quite a few teams are on bye, quite a few big names. So fantasy matchups get a little more interesting this week as you're trying to find that diamond in the rough. Good luck. Enjoy, like I said, enjoy the games this week. They set us up pretty nicely. If Washington can stay in that game, like I think they can, that Monday night game will also be a pretty good one as well. Unfortunately, I will have to miss the majority of that as we have a game as well. So I'll be living through Bo's text as he's telling me what's going on in that game. But I think that does it for us today. Thanks for joining us. Awesome to see a couple new faces. Thank you again for joining us. And as always, stay hungry.
Stay fat, my friends.